I want to say welcome to everyone who's here. We appreciate you coming out. The last breakout of the conference. You didn't run off to your airplane. You didn't decide to take an early day and head back to the hotel, but you're here with us and we appreciate that. My name is Kerry Morgan. I'm a product manager, and I've have the opportunity today to help with my coworker to let you know about how you can optimize your job board strategy with the power of Phenom Personalization and some other tools that we're going to show you. Now, Jackie, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Jackie Riccardi. I'm on the Solutions Consulting team here at Phenom, and I'm very excited to help you all optimize your job board strategy. All right. So when we think about job boards in general, really what we're going to talk about today is the ability to use the entire Phenom platform to help you with that strategy. So not just thinking about job boards individually, but how can we expand that to the entire Phenom ecosystem that you all have, where your candidates are interacting, your recruiters are interacting, and everyone in this room is likely interacting. Now today, we know that this can be sometimes difficult when we think about the strategy that we have with job boards. Right now, a lot of times we kind of feel like we have to spend more to get more candidates. We don't have enough leads coming into us. We don't have enough talent that's flowing into our ATSs or into our CRMs. So how do we now take this and start to utilize this elsewhere?
One of the other problems that we know you face is that some job boards create sort of an annoying experience for candidates, where the candidate must first fill out the application, the profile, and then when they submit, now they got to come to our site, your career site, and fill out the application yet again. There are some tools that we've got in place, some strategies in place that help address that, but it is one of the problems that using job boards will present.
And the last problem that we want to talk about today is leaving leads on the table. What happens when I have someone who's a really great fit for job A, but they didn't get it? How are they able to see the next time I open that job up, or a similar job that they might also be a really great fit for? We're leaving all of those leads on the table because their information doesn't exist in our current systems. So we have created an approach that, again, takes that entire ecosystem and puts it into your hands. This is a multifaceted approach that doesn't just take a look at job boards alone. So we're going to talk about it from a variety of different tools that we have developed to approach that important conversation that you need to have. That's going to include your career site. Of course, it's going to include those job boards. It's going to include as well some outreach that we might need to do to leads and candidates and applicants in that process.
And then, of course, there is always the job board. So we've done some extra work, recent work, to try to make it a smoother process for you to use job boards as sources of leads. But not just sort of turn it on, set it and forget it, but turn it on and then adjust it over time to make sure it's really actually meeting your needs. So that's a second aspect of our strategy.
And the very last piece of our strategy is, of course, what does that look like from an analytics perspective? How can we take all of these other two steps that we're doing and then begin to continue to evolve that strategy? We know that talent acquisition and the way that we attract candidates changes at this point on a weekly basis, right? Sometimes one thing is working, the next week that thing flops. So how can we utilize the analytics that exist within this platform to propel that strategy forward while that strategy is continuously changing?
So we want to show you a few things of the products that we have available that help implement this approach. Jackie, I'm going to start with a few.
Absolutely. So we're going to start again within that Phenom ecosystem, and again, not just focusing on pick and posting on those job boards. One of those approaches is going to be, how do we find and get our candidates to the right jobs faster? And that's with an intelligent career site. When we think about personalization, creating a personalized experience, everyone in this room likely utilizes something today that has a personalized experience. Netflix, Spotify, when you log in, they know who you are. If you're using Spotify, you thumbs down a song, that song disappears from all of your playlists, right? We're used to these experiences existing wherever we exist. So as candidates, when we're looking for jobs, we want that same experience. That allows us not only to get personalized in the jobs that we're applying to, but the outreach that follows up with that. We'll talk about that in a moment. In addition to the career site, we also have the ability to take candidates that are utilizing those job boards for a really quick and easy application. So think about Indeed, LinkedIn. They have these very easy approaches that allow candidates to go through that one-click apply. We want that information and all of that candidate information to feed into the same place so that all of the people here in this room have access to those candidates. Think about that problem statement, right? Leaving leads on the table. We don't want to leave candidate information anywhere. We want to be able to ingest it and utilize it on a regular basis. So we can do that by integrating that quick apply and other options right into your CRM, which is the next thing that we're going to talk about. Utilizing now the CRM that has all of that candidate data. So anyone that's uploaded a resume on your career site, partially applied to a job, previously applied, anyone that has applied through Indeed or those other job boards now ends up in one single ecosystem. This becomes the place in which not only you can view your applicants, but all of those candidates who have raised their hand, said that they're interested, and then didn't have enough time to apply. And I think we all know people like that, right? This gives your team the ability to take that candidate information and start to personalize the approach or the outreach that goes out to them. Not only saying, hey, we saw that you applied, thanks so much for applying, but we saw that you applied and we think you'd actually be a better fit for this job. Would you like to apply to it? I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. That sounds like a lot for a recruiting team sometimes, right? That seems like, I have to go through a lot more candidates. Nobody really wants to do that. But what we can also do within the CRM is automate a lot of that outreach. So taking those key pieces of information, skills, experience, the types of things that we are all looking for the jobs that we're trying to hire for, and automating that outreach to candidates, whether that's through SMS, for candidates that primarily communicate on their phone, through WhatsApp, for our people across the pond who use that as their primary form of communication, or through email, again, for those candidates that live in that world. Now, all of these things that we just talked about, right? That career site where candidates are coming to get that personalized information, Indeed, and the job boards that we're pushing all of our jobs out to, and that CRM is only worth it if we can see what's actually going on with those candidates. And that's where analytics come into play. Taking all of that information that exists within the Phenom ecosystem and giving you the information not only on how many leads we're getting, but how many people are we interviewing? How good are those interviews? Are they actually being hired? And what does that look like? This now empowers you all to start to form that strategy. Taking all of the analytics that exist and being able to now put into action all of the things that you see happening on a regular basis. And Carrie's going to walk us through exactly how we can take all of this information and start to push it directly into that strategy that we have.
So for example, one of the questions that analytics can help you answer is which of my job boards, which of the job board posting strategies that I'm using are producing candidates that end up being hired. So you may be posting to 20 different job boards and you're thinking, all right, I've got this budget, and just this giant sucking sound as all the dollars kind of go away and all the leads kind of come in. But what if only 5 of those job boards were responsible for 95% of your leads? Would you know that? How would you know that? Well, that's only known if you've got tracking on your job board postings, so that you can then use analytics to identify those tracked applicants, candidates, and trace them back to the source, right? So you're doing source tracking and you're doing campaign tracking. All of that's done using UTM codes attached to the apply links that are pushed out to the job boards. But analytics is the place where all of that magic comes together to form useful information for you. So, knowing that you're using job boards and knowing that you have a tool available to slice and dice that information and answer the question, which of my job boards are really paying off, that allows you to fine-tune your job board posting strategy. Now, what we've developed are some tools that put more of that fine-tuning into your hands. So until these tools were developed, you would work with Phenom and we would set up job feeds for you to whatever boards you specify. But you didn't have the ability to come back and go, you know, on second thought, let me change the categories of jobs that are being posted to that board. Let me use a different UTM code so that I can track it in a way that suits my needs. What if I want another, I've got a custom field and I really want that custom field showing up on that job board, but I didn't include that in my original request, so now what do I have to come jump through a hoop in order to get that data out there. So what our tools will now do is give you the ability to adjust that. We have two different tools that are being made available to customers. One of them we're calling the job feed tool. So a job feed is, when we say job feed, we're talking about a regularly published collection of job data in an XML data file format that lives at a specialized URL, which a job board has been configured to pick up and digest. Our tool doesn't set up that relationship with the job board. That's still your responsibility. You've got a financial relationship with them that you have to work out and establish. Once you've worked that out and established it, it is up to you to deliver those jobs into that job board. And we do that through a job feed. That job feed is defined using a variety of filters and parameters that are now in your control. So you see here's just an example of a scrolling list of all the job feeds that have been set up for a particular customer. You see that you see some details underneath each of the job titles up there, including what language and locale that job collection is for. It also identifies how many current jobs would appear using the filters that you have currently set up for that feed. And then it gives you an opportunity to view the XML if you actually want to preview what's going to be exported and shown on that, transferred to the job site, the job board site. And you can copy the link, because when you're setting up your job board, you have to produce this link. And instead of saying, "Dear Phenom engineer, what's my link?" you just come here and copy it and paste it into the destination on that job board's configuration. So you have the job feed list. We also have the ability to create a new job feed. So the first thing is to select your source, right? So which jobs do you want to publish? Now in this example, we only have one locale for the source data, but if you had multiple locales other than English US, they would appear here and you would be allowed to select one of them. Now, right below the locale is an opportunity to set filters. Filters are important, especially when you're using job boards that are highly specialized. So if you have a wide variety of jobs that includes some medical positions, but you want to post jobs to a job board that's highly specialized and focused only on medical job seekers, then you don't want to publish all your jobs to that board, right? You want to narrow it down. So, or the same might be true with information technology jobs or some other category that's fairly specialized in the job board world. So for you, you would want to set a filter. Now, you can see there's a variety of different criteria you can use for filtering. In my example, I'm going to choose a couple, maybe category and maybe country. So here, for example, I said the category is information technology and the country is United States of America, right? So these are the filters that I might choose if I was going to push to an IT-centric job board here in the US. Now there are a variety of other filter conditions that you can include in this, and I'm not going to show you every detail of the tool. This isn't a training session. I'm just trying to help you get a vision for what the tool can do. Now you select your job boards. This is the target that you're going to be publishing these jobs for. Now you'll notice that I've selected two. Now there isn't any such thing as a magic voodoo relationship we can set up where one job feed goes to 2 different job boards. But what this does, it allows you to save a little bit of effort. If you want to set up 3 or 4 job feeds to different job boards, but they all use the exact same filter criteria, then this just allows you to say, okay, I want to set up my criteria once, choose all my job boards that are going to receive that particular filtered list of jobs, and then it'll create 3 separate feeds for those 3 separate job boards. In this case, I chose 2, so that's going to produce 2 job feeds, 1 for each of those boards using the same filter criteria. Now, I should mention that this list here shows 316 job boards. That's actually a pretty accurate number of how many boards we already have templates set up for. You don't have to do the work of going and learning what the XML structure is that job board requires, and then, using your Voodoo XML knowledge to link it all up. We've already done that work for you. If you have, on the other hand, a job board that you want to use that's not in this list, then you submit a request. We put the template together using a similar tool to what you're seeing right here. It allows us to quickly map all the correct fields into place, and then we add it to the list, and we're like, okay, now you're good to go. So the list is fairly comprehensive, but there's always more job boards out there, so it will grow as you need it to. The last step is, this is just, for example, if I chose 2 boards, I'm going to choose what the names of those feeds are to differentiate them from existing feeds that I may have previously created. Now the last step is some custom settings. So again, I'm not going to wade through all the details, but custom mappings are interesting. If you have a custom field in your CRM data and you want to deliver that to a job board, you go into custom settings and you can say, I want to take my custom field and I want to deliver it as this field to that job board. And now you've just done something that normally would require an engineer to help you out with. It doesn't require that any longer. The other thing is sometimes a job board can use a static value. So in other words, every time any job is posted to that particular board, they want a field, or you can use a field that will always be filled in with some certain value that you type in. It's a static value. You can do those as well. There's also the ability to map a Phenom data field to some new XML tag that's of your own invention. And so there's several different options available in the custom mapping area. Now in the configurations area, that has to do with managing multi-location, or I should say managing location data in your job posts, because you can have a job that's available in multiple locations. You can have a variety of different kind of mix and match relationships between jobs and locations. That's what's covered in the configurations section. The third one is the UTM parameters. And this one's maybe most useful or most frequently useful. If you are trying to do UTM tracking and you want to fine tune it in some way, and you want to add additional UTM parameters or even your own custom parameters to a job link, then that data will appear in your source tracking information in Phenom CRM, giving you the opportunity to slice and dice your information using analytics to achieve whatever goals you're after. All right, so that was the job feed tool. The second tool is a job ad posting tool. This is a briefer tour, but when you're looking at a list of jobs in the CRM application, and you have this ability turned on, you'll see a new link that you see up there in the toolbar above the list of jobs. So you select a job and you click Post to a Job Board. What happens is that sends you directly into a job ad posting activity. Now here's a list of some past job ads that have been posted already. But what you would see when you're using that other link on the previous screen is the same effect as if you click the Create Job Ad button on this screen. And that is this kind of a process. And you can see there's a 5-step process of fine-tuning your job posting to pick and post that specific job to a specific board. Now we have this tool set up. We're in the early stages of building this style of pick and post job ad posting for a variety of systems. This one is set up right here for this demo for an India-based job board called Naukri. We have another one set up for an Australia-based board called Seek, and we're working to increase that number with whatever job boards offer an API that we can use to do this. But it's as you would expect. Once you said I want to post an ad for this job, then it auto fills in a variety of elements straight from the CRM data, and then you're able to fill in some additional features that categorize this job according to the job board's categories, right? Rather than, because that might be different from Phenom's categories that you've set up. Then you're selecting an industry, you're selecting salary range, you're selecting job description. Now, of course, it copies the job description out of the CRM job, but if you want to tune that in some way, specifically for this job board, you have the opportunity to do that here. And then you can select what skills you want to identify as key skills. So you've defined a whole bunch of skills in the CRM job. Now you can highlight which ones you want to have show up in this job posting. We go on to additional information, and finally the summary, where you can review the whole posting before you actually send it. And assuming that you're ready, you click Post Job and you're done. So these two tools, the job posting, the job feed tool, and the job ad posting tool, are available in the Service Hub that you've maybe been hearing about in some of our other conversations, along with we'll be adding other tools to the Service Hub as well that are offering similar self-service supplementary activities like this. But this, that describes these couple of tools for when you need to use job boards to complete your overall talent acquisition strategy. So I think that wraps us up for what we wanted to say. Now we've got about 7 minutes left if anyone has questions about any of the things that we've been discussing here today. And we'll do our best to restate the question so all of you can hear what was said. You want to start here?
Sure. Yes. Is there an additional cost for either of those tools?
Yes.
There are two questions. So is that, and then if you already have XML feeds, does this allow us to edit them?
Yes. First question is there a cost? The answer is yes. And the second question is, if you already have feeds that are set up, will this allow you to modify them? The answer is yes. Your feeds will have been set up in a structure that you can modify if you begin using this tool.
Is there a limit? I think our contract we have 10, so would this allow us
This
to
tool
more?
will enforce that limit. So if your contract says you've got 10 or 20 or however many job boards, the tool will enforce that limit, and you can't keep adding them ad infinitum. But yeah, up to your limit, then you'll be able to do that. Question down here?
So the job ad posting, is that intended for brand new postings, or will it sort of prioritize a rep that's engaging and then unposted and then reposted?
The question was, does the job ad posting tool sort of take the place of a job that was maybe already posted through a feed, or does it somehow post it in parallel? And my answer to that question is, I don't know the answer. But I believe when we build these integrations with each of these systems, they take on slightly different qualities based on the requirements and opportunities. So the Naukri integration that you were just seeing is Naukri style. The Seek integration is slightly different, it's Seek style. So if there's an answer to that, if you would know the normal answer to that question using Naukri or Seek, I think you would already know the answer of how our tool, what effect our tool would have. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we're following their lead on these. So whatever their strategy is, that's what you're doing through this tool. So it's basically allowing you to bypass the re-entry of all that data in those other site tools by just sucking it straight out of Phenom and right into that job ad. generator.
And from a recruiter perspective, that's going to exist in the CRM. So if your recruiting team is already working in the CRM, they're likely the ones that are going into those tools and making those one-off postings. This brings everything again into one ecosystem. So they can manage the job postings, where the jobs live, and all of the candidates, all within the same interface.
And without having to copy paste in order to make it happen, right? So just zoom and it's gone. Next question.
So that assumes that you have a contract like Seek or something already in there.
Right. All of these assume that you've already arranged a commercial relationship with those sites. These tools just help you feed data to them more efficiently.
But no free boards, like Handshake or
Oh, I believe we've got fee-free ones on here as well. Yeah, there's not, we don't limit ourselves to the cost-based job boards. It's all the job boards that customers have been requesting, the first 300 of them anyway. Next question.
So I just kind of along with that, is Google Logic and Google indexing included with that, or is it separate?
You mean-
As far as Phenom's relationship?
You mean as far as Google,
Google for Jobs.
Google Analytics, you mean, or Google Tracking?
Google for Jobs is standard with every Phenom career site, so we automatically interface with that. It's not an XML feed. Google for Jobs doesn't use that. So we automatically will post. It's based on SEO. So that intelligent career site that we talked about, that's going to help in boosting those up. And that Google for Jobs integration just is inherent to a Phenom career site.
So you kind of, you don't have to worry about Google Jobs. It happens
Yeah.
magically. Right back here.
So, I know what the company has some time, school will go to the site and there's a time, it's on LinkedIn, we are doing the job, are they able to update on it or report off as well?
The question was, what happens when jobs get posted to a job board and lickety-split, that job rec is filled, and here the job board still, is advertising for a job that's already closed. Now, the experience that people will have, if they're on that job board and they click that link, it's going to take them straight to a Phenom page. That Phenom page is going to say, I'm sorry, this job is closed, right? This job is no longer open. So there's a time delay that we can't solve because other sites pick it up from those other sites and then they distribute it around the internet. We can't completely solve that, but our job feed is updated frequently enough that those sites all have the recent data. Do you know how frequently?
Yeah,
Offhand?
it's every 4 hours, so it should be pretty synced with what you're doing. The other thing though to think about, again, because this is an ecosystem, is that if that happens and you're redirecting to your career site, which is our recommendation to do for most jobs that are posted on job boards, because of that Google for Jobs integration, the more hits you get, the higher you are in that SEO. So if you're having people go directly to your career site, it won't show a broken link, it'll show them other jobs. So instead of them coming and saying this job isn't open, they'll still see that job isn't open, but all the personalization is still there. So they're able to find another position that better fits their skills and experience, even though the one that they clicked on at that point is closed.
Can you put a date though on the job tool that you guys have? Like I only want to post it 3 days and just does it?
I believe it's going to, and this is based on what you said, so you tell me if I'm wrong, it's going to follow the regular posting that exists on those boards that you have today. So if you have the ability to do it today, then the answer is yes. If you don't, we can't create that for you.
In the back?
If you have Indeed Easy Apply turned on, where will the application show up?
So they'll come through as a lead into the CRM. They'll be tagged that they came in for the Indeed Easy Apply, and you'll be able to see that full profile in the CRM. Thanks. Absolutely.
In the back over here.
So if you're doing an implementation where you're converting, you already have an applicant tracking system like Leo, Iceland, Ozone, is this meant to replace? Is this functionality already exists? So is it meant to replace that?
Yes.
Or to complement?
The question was if you've already got an applicant tracking system that may be posting to job boards.
Yeah, this functionality you just described
Mhm.
has existed for 10 years.
Right,
So-
right.
So if you're to convert to Phenom, you already have it, is this meant to replace that? You know, contractually, all those things, is it meant to replace that?
It's, what it's meant to do is to, if you are using Phenom as a tool that is the center of your recruiter's activity, and your intention is for them to kind of live in Phenom, then what this does is it allows them to stay in Phenom and keep getting their work done rather than flipping back and forth between two systems. And so we realize that not everybody uses Phenom the same way. Some use Phenom components in tandem with their applicant tracking system, and recruiters live in the ATS, but the career site is the only Phenom component that they're really relying on. But for those customers who are using the CRM and their recruiters kind of live in Phenom, we want to bring, make that tool set more complete so that they can do more of what they need to do without flipping back and forth. I don't know if that answers it. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, a really good way to think about it is that Phenom is your system of engagement and your ATS is your system of record. So your ATS follows processes, you have things that you need to do in there that have to happen, right? But Phenom is your system of engagement. So as you start thinking about not only evolving as an organization, but evolving your employees from recruiters to talent marketers, this then becomes an entire position for someone to work within Phenom, reach out to those candidates and choose where those jobs are posted based on the information that we're providing to them. All of that would then want to live in one place so that they're not having to go in between the two. It's up to you though how you choose to use all of this, right? And as we continue on with things like this, that's going to come up more and more. So it's not a conversation that we're not having, but really just think of Phenom as your system of engagement for that top of the funnel before we get to application.
Last one over here because we've run out of time.
Isn't it safe to assume though, so yes, all of the ATSs have their own feeds, but if I need a custom field from my system, like the recruiter's email or a special remote flag or anything, that this tool will now be able to add that to the feed, which I wouldn't have been able to do.
Yes, it's true that what this adds to the feed is everything that was pulled from the job pull, that's the integration between the ATS and Phenom, it pulls all of that. If there's any additional data that you're tracking in the Phenom CRM, you have all those fields plus these fields, and if any of them need to make it into your job feed, you can do that using the custom mappings that I was just describing. We're going to stick around after the session. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate your time.